everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of Nephew Hours. I'm your host, Migi. Joining me today in his return, Usman. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing all right. A lot of stuff's been going on, but
Yeah,
I finally made time to get back to our little project here.
nice. And again, like we missed you on the show. I'm glad to see you back. So it's great. So we pretty much just it's gonna be like it's gonna be a little quick little episode today. So first off, we got we haven't recorded in the past 2 weeks, but not much has happened in 2 weeks, so it's kind of weird that the one person making the news rounds today is, or well, the past week is Myers Leonard, of all
Look,
people. But
look, I just want to say real quick that in these past 2 weeks, the Heat have gone from the 11th seed to the 5th seed. Okay, and Myers Leonard's
okay,
been hurt; he hasn't been part of it. So
yes,
stuff has happened. It just hasn't happened for any of the
yes,
big.
of all people though, like of all people in the league, it's got to be Myers Leonard. Um, so for all of you guys who don't know or probably have probably heard, Miami Heat center Myers Leonard was live streaming Call of Duty Warzone on, I believe it was Tuesday or Wednesday, and went and said an anti-Semitic slur live on stream. We won't repeat it, obviously. It's super messed up,
Uh,
but what happened was, he issued the cliche cliche apology saying I had no idea what the word meant. It doesn't reflect who I am as a person, and stuff. So he then received his punishment where he's no longer with the team. He's not cut from the team. He won't be. He's banned from being with the team for a week, and
no, 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 no,
it's
no.
he's just not allowed.
He's the NBA suspended him for a week, but the Heat have suspended him indefinitely.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
the end. He got the 1 week suspension from the league. I mean, it doesn't really
okay.
matter because he's
He's
out for the
injured.
season
Yeah,
anyway.
okay.
But it's more of a
And
symbolic gesture.
and he also got a $50,000 fine. So essentially that's pretty much the new news. We did get a trade today. Um, Oklahoma City's trading Hamidou Diallo, former dunk champion, to Detroit for Savi Mikhailu and a 2027 second round pick. Um, who for who? Does it really matter? No. In the long scheme of things, no. But back to the Myers Leonard thing. Yeah. So
Yeah,
again, uh, as anyone should be, we were vehemently against anti-Semitism or any form of discrimination or racism and whatnot. So, and in my opinion, after he sent out the apology, that really didn't mean anything, because we know, like, it didn't really, like, he's just doing it for PR purposes. We know that. Um, but at the same time, it's like I feel like the punch may, was a little soft. Like, I get he's like out for the season and he's suspended indefinitely from the Heat, but like, being suspended for a week where you can't go to the facilities, which, I mean, he's probably going there to what, rehab, I assume.
maybe. Yeah,
Yeah, and a $50,000 fine. Like, no, like that. I think that's, I don't know. I would have suspended him for maybe like at least, I would have, 2 to 3 weeks, maybe indefinitely at the same time. If like the Heat are doing indefinitely, the NBA might have done this, should have done the same thing. I feel, get on the same page. Um, and I think the
yeah,
$50,000 fine should have been at least maybe 100 grand. Because again, like, this is stuff like, that shouldn't, that doesn't belong, you know, in in the league, let alone society in general. And again, with the slur that he used, it's not a very well known slur. Like,
yeah,
you really have to, like, know some words to really, like, use that one. And the crazy part is too, and for the clips all over the internet, it's on Twitter, YouTube, all of that. Like, you can probably see it, with an easy, Google search. Uh, he took like a literal 2-second, like, pause before he, like, said the word. Like you knew he was thinking about saying something, fucked up, and like here he is, saying an anti-Semitic slur. So I mean, again, he really dug deep into the bag of like slurs and whipped that one out, um, which is really, really foul
Why'd you
to
have to put
begin
it
with,
like that?
dude. Like, cause like it's
That's a he went deep
dude,
into
like
the bag.
he went like because
Yeah.
again, this is like you never, in all legitimate seriousness, when I first saw the clip, I didn't know what the slur was until like my friend told me which one it was. And that's the thing. Like, it's just
Yeah.
again, like I think it's too soft. I think the NBA should just follow what the Heat did and just suspended him indefinitely. He's already out for the season, so you might as well like let it continue into the season of next season, and
I
then
think it's from the fine perspective, it's I think 50,000 is the max the NBA
is it really?
can find. I'm not 100% sure on that, but like
Because
for this kind of offense, I guess
okay,
maybe that's something that has to be.
because
But
I read. I mean, because I there's an article where it compared like the different like the different what you call it
punishments.
yeah, and so some of them's gone to the six figures. I don't know if it's because it's the past CBA or whatever,
Yeah, I think
but
it was. I think it was more like brawl at the palace kind of stuff.
oh, but plus like too like I think I don't know if it was I think it was Bobby Marks. I don't know if remember off the top of my head, but like there was also a thing where he's not forfeiting since he's not playing any games. Like he's not forfeiting any like he's not really forfeiting any game checks either. So like the $50,000 doesn't really like affect his wallet or anything, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's
like so the thing is like again like you know for for me like personally I would have suspended him longer. If not, like I would have like cut him straight up from the I would have like straight up cut him from the team personally. Because
uh, I don't know. I don't
like
know. I
look
think
like
that's look. We'll find out what his true punishment is. This is a
yeah,
contract. He has a team option. If he
that's
doesn't get
true.
signed again, then that's the
The,
maximum punishment you
yeah,
can get.
I
So,
mean
but with that being said, I mean, I kind of like that the NBA took the more like rehabilitative type of approach because again, this isn't
yeah,
the same as like if he had walked up to a guy walking down the street in a yarmulke and
yeah.
went old school
It's
on him, so to speak.
sure. Yeah, sure, but again, it's still like, especially like, last time like someone's been fined uh for derogatory remarks and so forth has been I think at least 2 or 3 years. And in that time span, like a lot of things regarding society and how we conduct ourselves and how we view things is a lot different than it was, even a year ago, right? So in a sense now, like again, like the NBA has been very, about social justice and making sure you know um we make sure that we promote equality and justice and whatnot. Like, I feel like the NBA should have, set a precedent like saying, hey, like, this isn't like welcome here. Like this,
Yeah.
we'll give you the maximum punishment like we can feasibly do under the CBA,
Uh,
and
the articles are saying that 50,000 was the maximum
50,000 is
allowable
max.
fine.
So it
Yeah,
is. So
and
again, yes,
the
the
cultural
infinite
diversity training and all that stuff.
and then the infinite or the indefinite suspension is I guess
That's
the
from the
max.
Heat. That's from the Heat's
Yeah.
own.
Okay. So again, like you said, if the Heat cut him, then his career is probably gonna be over at this point because like who's gonna whoever signs him is gonna be a PR nightmare. Like you just
It's not even that.
it-
It's I don't think the
plus it's not
sad
even a good.
real this yeah the sad reality is if uh a good player had said it, he probably would have been
Yeah.
signed anyway.
Oh
But
yeah, 100%.
you know,
But
skill
yeah.
can
Who would have thought playing Warzone would end someone's end his career? I need the
you gotta be careful,
even
man. Celebrities should
yeah.
stop. Honestly, why is these celebrities even
Why
streaming? Like, you
not?
don't
It's
need.
fun.
No, you don't
I,
need the income. And if you
okay.
have a
Well,
slip up, it's over.
Yeah, but I mean, look, people. I guess it's like an outlet because they play basketball all the time. So it's like the outlet to it's an outlet to what you
I mean,
call it,
just play with
escape in
your
a sense.
just play with your
Yeah,
friends.
I
You
mean, a
have
lot of them
friends, you just
do.
play with them.
A lot of them do. It's just why not? Like maybe they got some sponsorships and stuff that they need to do, or like it's part of like their PR.
Oh right, he
Um,
was a part of Face.
Yeah, they then phase cut him, and then he lost the
Yeah,
contract with his PC. So again, like you know, in the end of the day, it's like it's really dumb what he said. De'Aaron Fox said it was like it was some dumbass shit. And I quote. Uh, so you know,
yeah.
right now, like again, like the punishment's been given, and all we can do now is just wait and see what happens. Um, and stuff.
Yeah, I would be. It would be interesting if he gets another contract somewhere. I
I
mean,
doubt it. I genuinely
I
doubt it.
I guess not, but
But uh,
whatever. He'll be fine.
yeah.
He's
Again,
got
I just genuinely hope that like, again, like, I hope like he actually does learn something from this like diversity program. Cause again, like, if you're able to say these like words, like what else are you saying behind like, without the stream, going and whatnot?
yeah. I mean, I'm sure he'll you know at the very least in the public eye, something like that will never escape his mouth again. But
Yeah.
the reality is he'll probably be out of the public eye if he doesn't get another contract, and then he can say and then he's gonna say whatever he wants.
Yeah, I guess so.
And that's how it
Um,
ends up happening.
yeah, pretty much. But moving right along, because I know we got quite a few things to talk about. So essentially, this episode is going to be a first half review. For all you guys, that remember, the season was kind of split into the season schedule was kind of split from a first half, second half, and then we had the impromptu All Star break. The 3-point contest was fun. Skills challenge was kind of funny. All Star game itself was pretty fun, but the dunk contest was trash. That's my take on it. But with the second half, getting underway, we had a couple games, one on Wednesday and Thursday that were pretty good, and kind of setting the tone for the rest of the way. We kind of want to review how it's been for the first half of the year, and talk about what surprised us. Did any of our predictions, go through, and so forth. So one of the first surprises I did want to talk about is the Phoenix Suns soaring all the way above to the second seed. I for one did not see this, coming. I generally thought it'd be like a maybe a 5, 6, 7 seed. But
Yeah,
I guess the CP3 effect is, happening again where it takes a team that, no one thinks is gonna be a contender is now looking like a contender.
yeah, and no, definitely it took the Suns like 5 years, but they finally got Devin Booker a point guard.
I know. I know.
I mean, they had
And a pretty good one.
they had Ricky Rubio last year, but like they like upgraded that
This
even
is
further.
I know.
Yeah,
And like the crazy part is too is like uh not only did CP3 add like another layer to what the Suns could be. Um, with the Suns, it's you the development of Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton, um, then the rest of that roster. They all like and the additions of Jay Crowder as well, like another vet, who will contribute and do his part. So it's a pretty like the Suns are a pretty well organized team, and it's showing that like if you develop your young players correctly and put them in an environment that's healthy to develop, like good things will come, and especially if you round them out with solid veterans like Jay Crowder and CP3. Um, but I do want to ask, with the way the West is, especially the talented teams like the Clippers and the Lakers and the Nuggets that are right behind them. Uh, do you think that you know it's sustainable for them to stay in the second seed or not?
I think it is just because of the strange nature of the season. One slip up and like half your team is missing for a week, right?
Yeah,
and then also there's uh, there's the fact that like you know the rest of these teams have struggled with either a slow start or like injury problems, and it's I think it's sustainable. I'm not sure how much playoff success it'll lead to though.
Mhm. So yeah, so with my thing, the way it seems like I think they could be a second round exit with the way there's things are set up. It's just again when you have the Lakers and the Clippers, you're probably going to be the definitive top two. Maybe like top, second and third because of again Utah's also surprising everybody with how they're playing. I think they have a 27-9 record, uh,
Yeah,
and they're playing solid basketball. But again, um, I, the status of the Western Conference is going to be the Lakers and Clippers, right?
yeah,
Utah again, we have to see that we have to see how they perform in the playoffs because as a playoff
yeah,
team, they haven't performed
yeah. Rudy
well.
Gobert isn't a
Yeah,
good playoff player, unfortunately.
I agree. And again, you need, you know, star talent to carry you in the playoffs. Can Donovan Mitchell be that guy? Probably. Who knows, right? He did it in his rookie year versus Oklahoma City, right? So, but now with how the West has been upgraded, again, we can will Utah continue their impressive run? Possibly, you know.
Yeah,
Um, but it's still, in my opinion, it's going to be Lakers Clippers who will run the West. And will the Suns put up a fight for maybe put up a fight to get to the West Conference Finals? Yeah, sure, I can definitely see it.
yeah,
But at some point, I don't think what their run is that sustainable in a sense. It
yeah.
could be, but I can't see it.
The only way the Suns, you know, possibly get a finals trip or make it or win a title is if all the bad karma Chris Paul has been acquiring over the years finally
Finally pays off in the end.
pays off and balances out. He might be
Oh man.
he might be the unluckiest player of all time, like aside from the
Yeah.
guys that got bad injuries.
And I don't, again, like I think with CP3, I don't even think I generally feel like, even with the team they have in Phoenix, I don't think they'll get close to the finals. I can't see it.
Yeah, again, unless the universe like the
Unless the universe were
dominoes
to grant,
flip and
yeah,
the
one wish and it's a monkey paw type deal. Like sure, why not,
all
right?
the years of
Uh
suffering
um
finally pay off.
on the flip side, on the flip side, teams that are surprising me in the Eastern Conference, for sure, uh going trending downwards, the Toronto Raptors and the Washington Wizards. Toronto, I mean, like they did lose Serge Ibaka, they did lose Marcus Gasol, but they kept like a good amount of their roster. That's
Yeah,
contributed to their title runs, and they've developed solid talent. Um, they started off like 2-7, 2-8, but they kind of rounded back into form. But then again, as with many of the teams in the league, got hit by a COVID outbreak and are out. Have several key players
yeah.
out, and they're now 17-20.
Thanks a lot,
Um,
Wizards.
yeah. Oh, this is yeah. So Toronto though, like or well, Tampa Bay now, the Tampa Raptors. y- I'm kind of surprised that they be down. Not bad, but they be down around the ninth, 10th seed. Because again, like in years past, they've even with the talent that they have, they've been able to kind of get it together. Will stay in the hunt for the playoffs. But right now, they're fighting for their playoff lives.
Yeah,
And there's now also rumors that Kyle Lowry is going to get traded. Um,
that'll be rough.
that's it's which is weird because it's either going to be like legit that he's traded into a contender, and then the question is to who, whether it's the Clippers or it's Philly. The other scenarios that what's been reported around the league is that a lot of league personnel are pessimistic that a Lowry trade will happen. Kyle
Yeah,
Lowry's interview was also kind of sketch because it left things open ended and leaned both ways. So we're kind of in the dark when it comes to the Toronto Raptors.
he's playing the
But
game well.
So I don't know. Like I don't know if we're heading into the second half of the season. I don't know if it's they get together and rally towards securing a sixth seed, or we're they're fighting for their playoffs lives, or they do the stealth tank and trade Lowry and start anew with their new core of Fred Van Vliet, OG Ananobi, Norman Powell, Pascal Siakam, Chris Boucher, and so forth.
The big five. No, they I don't see them tanking. I don't think they're that kind of
No,
organization.
but see, they stealth tank it because the way they stealth tank it is if they trade Lowry, right? All they need to do is finish 11th in the East, and they have they have a shot at moving up in the lottery because of that. So,
Yeah, yeah, I suppose.
like they could totally stealth tank it by trading Lowry, and have maybe a small shot at Cade Cunningham, maybe not. Who knows, right?
Well, yeah, it
Uh,
depends on where they trade Lowry and when they
yeah,
get back. But
yeah.
if they
So
don't trade Lowry, I don't think they're tanking though.
no, they're not going to
They're
tank.
going.
They're fighting for a playoff spot for sure.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think they could get it too. With the East, it's like you go
well,
on
yeah.
one hot streak, and you know your
Oh, yeah,
opponents
100%.
your opponents are out because of COVID or injuries, and boom, you get there.
Yeah, and so with that too is like, look, right now if I'm looking at these standings, right? So at 17 and 20, the Raptors are the ninth seed. They're only 2 games behind home court advantage, which is the 4 seed, and the Boston Celtics at 19 and 18. They're only 2 games behind that. So again, the door's open. Like the East, unless you are the Philadelphia 76ers and Brooklyn Nets and Milwaukee Bucks, who we'll talk about later, you're kind of in the hunt because there's a three-way tie pretty much for eighth seed right now between the Hawks, Raptors, Pacers, and Bulls.
Yep.
So are the Wizards or not the Wizards, are the Raptors still have a legitimate shot? Yeah, 100%,
Yeah,
definitely.
they're probably the better coach team of that lower bunch.
Yeah, I
So
feel
we'll see if that pays off.
that.
Either that or Nick Nurse has been super overhyped. We'll see. We'll have
I
to
know.
see.
I think no. I think Nick Nurse is a solid coach. I just think they've been
Yeah,
dealt an unlucky hand for sure.
yeah, definitely, no question, no question.
Um, Speaking of like on the downward trend, um, but also may not be able to compete for that playoff spot is the Washington Wizards. I had them like as a 7, 8 seed. Clearly, they are not performing that well, and they're a 12 seed at 14 and 21. Uh, you know, kind of. I'm pretty disappointed with how it's turned out because I thought again like has Russell Westbrook like you know regressed? Yeah, can you argue that he could have he could be possibly washed? Yeah, you could probably argue that,
Yeah,
right? But at the same time, like him alongside Bradley Beal should work, and it technically has. They have high usage rates. Bradley Beal is like the leading scorer in the league. But then if you look at the rest of the roster, you realize like, oh, like that's why Bradley Beal has to score so much
isn't
because
also
the
that
fact
they're
what's up?
isn't it also that they're like really bad on defense?
Yes, that too, and also because Scott Brooks is a terrible coach and is only skating by. Uh, he's only skating by because of that recent had before the first half ended, where they look like, oh dang, the Wizards might be back. Where like Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook were like dropping 30 points plus each, and they might have figured it out, but then they're in the dumps again. So, again, like a lot of it, you can blame Scott Brooks for sure because I don't know if like every player is like being used to their fullest capacity. You know,
Yeah, it's
specifically like maybe Rui and like for sure Danny Avdia for sure.
yeah,
I wish
it
Jan was here to like kind of hype us up about this, but man, it is not a good look.
yeah, it's definitely it's on the coach to set a tone defensively and
Hmm.
to to utilize the roster that you have in the best way possible.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't know. I don't think
They're not gonna fire him because he's like, unless they'll probably fire him at the end of the season if they don't improve.
they might fire him. I don't know if it's gonna matter, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, it could if they get like a legitimate coach that knows how to like have legitimate rotations
Yeah.
and like because I've seen some of the games, like sometimes Scott Brooks will like throw the most random lineup out there, and you're just like, what the hell is he doing? And it's like,
Yeah.
I get it, you're trying to do it for like trying to see who can work and see who can like compete, but like, dude, we're like 30 games into the season. Like,
Yeah,
what are
you
you
gotta figure it
doing?
out.
I get it. Like, we know from earlier in the season that the Wizards had to miss, I think, 7 or 8 games worth due to COVID.
Yeah.
And had to have it rescheduled. And it takes away from the flow of things and trying to like practice together, get some game time together. I get that. But again, that was very, very much at the start of the season.
Yeah.
It's very much where, now like you had a good month and a half to kind of get it together and kind of figure things out. And so they haven't. So going forward, I don't know. I don't know what other solutions that the Wizards can possibly do other than just to keep feeding Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook. And I they gotta like start using Denny Avdi as like a secondary ball handler because that's what he did in Europe. Like he was a secondary ball handler. Like I get you have Ish Smith, as your backup point guard, but Denny Avdia can't be always just standing at the 3-point line, you know,
I
the whole
think
time.
I think Beal has them stuck because he doesn't want to. He no matter how many rumors come out, he doesn't want to leave,
Yeah,
and
he's
they don't
too
want to,
loyal.
and they don't want to betray him, which is
Yeah,
admirable.
yeah,
Uh,
he's too loyal.
if he wanted to leave, they could get a nice amount of draft picks and just kind of
Oh yeah,
end the curtain on the John Wall, Bradley Beal, you know,
yeah.
Otto Porter.
I can I can go with that. I agree with it.
Yeah.
But it's again, the thing is though, with it is the fact again, Dame's or not Dame, Beal is like Dame level loyal, right? Um, he's not gonna like demand a trade. He's gonna like see it out unless like things go catastrophically bad where they go like on another 12-game losing streak, then maybe.
No, unless the team disrespects him, I don't think he's gonna leave.
Yeah, really. I
Yeah,
mean, because again, we're
'Cause
like thirteen days away from the trade deadline.
yeah, there's nothing.
Nothing's gonna happen. Yeah,
Yeah,
so but barring any some crazy surprise, no, I don't see it happening. Um,
definitely. Yeah,
but on the flip side, in the Eastern Conference, though, trending upward, seriously surprising literally everyone that watches the NBA. The New York Knicks are 19-19. um, so somehow, some way, yeah, this got to be the Thibs effect for
yeah.
sure.
It's because
Because
it's because nobody in the NBA plays defense anymore. So
they're
uh,
now starting to play defense and winning off of that defense
yeah.
because their
I mean,
offense is so atrocious.
Tom Thibodeau's like defense, defense, defense. So they're automatically in like the top. I don't know what
Yeah,
their defensive numbers are, but I'm pretty sure they're in the higher tier.
I remember.
Oh,
Yeah, they're like third, I believe, third or fourth. They're top five
wow.
for sure on defense. Um, funny thing you brought up, like Thibs always yelling defense, 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 like in this deep, like loud voice. Gosh, I can't replicate. Like no one can replicate it. It's just so
Yeah,
like
it's like defense,
prominent.
defense.
If you guys, again to our viewers, like look this up. Look up Tom Thibodeau yelling, and like it's just such a prominent thing. But if you guys, for the Knicks again, their offense isn't that good. Like don't let yourself be fooled by like Julius Randle is an all-star talent and he's broken out. Emmanuel quickly is a feel good story as a rookie no one thought would be legit. RJ Barrett's development is is a good story. But again, if you look at the offensive stats, whether it's like points per game and offensive rating, they're not that good. They're in the bottom half of that, right? The defense literally carries it. And so, my point being, it's great seeing defense, and it's it's great that you can if you have a top defense, but if you don't have a good offense, it doesn't really matter. Because
Yeah,
in today's league, the offense is the great equalizer,
yeah. I
right?
mean,
Because
their offense is solid too. I think it's not like horrible.
okay, let's look this up.
Yeah,
Um,
like that's
looking
why
up
they're
their offense.
not. That's why they're not garbage, right?
Yeah, their defense is like their saving grace at the
Yeah.
moment. So looking at NBA.com, right? Uh, their points per game rank 29th with at 104.
Oh
Um,
wow. Okay.
they do have the number one defense with 105, giving up 105 per game. Um, their offensive rating is 108. Their defensive rating is 108. I'm looking up for like their whole like, leaders and stuff. So let me pulling this up here. Um, but again, like I just bless you to whoever
Sorry
to
about
whoever that was. No, it's okay.
that.
Bless you to whoever to whoever sneezed. But you know, at at that point, the Knicks have a 20, ranked 23rd in offensive rating. I just think that is it sustainable to do this? No. Will they
Probably
still
not.
be
Yeah.
a team that can fight for a playoff spot? Yeah, 100%. But I just don't see the Knicks, reaching, going anywhere with their terrible defense. Like I remember I was listening to the mismatch. I think it was the mismatch, where or was it? No. It was NBA University on from the Ringer, and I think it was Jonathan Charks brought up a quote that from when Tibbs and Mike D'Antoni coached Team USA. I forget. Was it Jonathan? Whoever this podcast was listening to. I just know it was from the Ringer. They brought up a Team USA quote where Tibbs was saying like even if we're more talented they are, we still gotta
You like out hustle them and
play
all that
defense.
stuff.
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
still play defense. And Mike D'Antoni, the offensive prophet, and kind of speaks for the rest of the NBA. Who gives a fuck if we're scoring at 150, and outscoring these teams and winning by 50 points? And that's the mindset I have. Like it's again, it's great that the Knicks are playing defense and it's keeping them into games, but it doesn't really matter when like great offense beats great defense every time.
Mm.
Even if you can go, even if like these '90s purists want to say, "Oh, but like defense, this defense now is like isn't comparable to what the '90s were." Like again,
Well, yeah,
you
that
know,
it can't be. The rules are
yes,
different and
yeah,
all of that stuff.
but
You can't compare that.
again, and they try to complain like offense is like ruining the game, but like even if you can say like '90s purists with all their like '90s defense, blah 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 blah. Even then, great offense beats great defense. Michael Jordan literally showed it, did this every time he was in the finals. You can defend him all you want. He's still going to score. Right. And so with the Knicks, like, with every time they play, a team with, players that can score, efficiently and, well,
All
they're
right.
not going to win those games.
All right, all right, all
Right.
right. Hold on, hold on. Look, I know this is the Nets fan in you talking.
No,
Nobody
like,
is comparing the
look
Knicks
at,
to the
look at,
Nets.
look at the
Okay,
okay, look at Milwaukee though. They did this
but
like they did expose Milwaukee that one game, but look, if you do it with Milwaukee, like if you look at Milwaukee blitzed the doors out of them.
no, but
It's
here's the thing. If the Knicks even make the playoffs, that's a massive win for them.
oh yeah, 100%.
Even if they get swept. So, if it's working,
100%,
it's
yeah.
working. And I'm pretty sure the offense will eventually come along as some of their young
Yeah,
players get better and like, generate
definitely. It's
chemistry.
just
As
right
long
now it's
as Tom Thibodeau doesn't lose the locker room again, like he has done everywhere else he's been.
I I agree with it. I just again
And
right now as much as like the team is improved, like again, like both good teams, New York teams being good is great for the NBA in general.
yeah.
It's just the Knicks have to get some offense going.
And as far as the Daryl Morey versus Tom Thibodeau offense defense debate is, where
I
I'm
always
from where I'm looking at, both of those guys have zero championships. So obviously,
the
obviously, the balanced approach is the way
the
to
funny
go.
thing the funny thing I do want to point out though is I saw this Reddit thread last night. It was talking about the Hornets, which we'll talk next.
Yeah.
Um, it was in that thread that talks about Tom Thibodeau as well. Is like Tom Thibodeau has like the greatest flip flop when it comes to him being like in charge every time, because they'll have like that feel good part where it's like, like, oh dang, Thibodeau's still like such a great coach, and
Yeah,
then all of a sudden, like, what, a year later, 2 years down the line, it's like, oh my god, Thibodeau sucks. Like, this
yeah,
happened everywhere he's gone. Chicago, like, all was well with like D Rose and everything. Then when things went bad and like Tibbs couldn't do anything, Tibbs all of a sudden sucks. He goes to Minnesota, all is well. They make the playoffs. Holy crap! And then the year later, all things fall apart, and he's out of a job for a year, and now he's back with the Knicks. Um, for the New York fans, you know, hopefully, like, it's sustainable. That Thibodeau stays on the good graces of New York. Who knows?
uh,
Um,
I will say this to if any Knicks fan is listening. Tom
yes.
Thibodeau has at least shown he's learned a little bit. And right now, Julius Randle is leading the
Oh
team in
yeah.
minutes with just 36.5. So he's
Wow.
not playing
Look at
Randle and
that.
Barrett like 41 minutes per game. He
Wow.
did
Look
with
at
Jimmy
that.
Butler and Luol Deng.
Good one. And he's also learned to, control what he can control, unlike, previous stints of trying to be VP of basketball operations.
Uh, that never works.
Yeah, so now he's
That
he's
never
now
works.
under the wing of Leon Rose and under his direction. So against
Yeah,
the Knicks, surprising everybody, props to them. Um, Next up, also on the surprise list, is the Charlotte Hornets, who are, I believe, at also 500 at 18-18.
yeah, they're the eighth
Um,
seed I think right now.
yes, so good on them. Again, surprisingly, you know, they have a solid. Everyone thought this roster was gonna be, trash and bottoming out. Surprisingly, they're not. Gordon Hayward has, revitalized himself after leaving the toxic mess that is Boston. Um, Terry Rozier, same situation. He has left the um, he has left the toxic space that is Boston, and is, you know, stepped up this year. Um, and now they have Lamella Ball, who's exceeded all expectations of what what everyone thought. I love Lamelo, and I don't get me wrong. Like, I'll come up front. I'll be honest. Like, I didn't think he'd be this good to begin. To start off his career, I thought, like, his shot, like, his shot selection and his shooting would, be like something he would develop on as he continued his career.
Yeah,
Clearly that has not been the case, because he's been shooting very well. I
yeah,
I love it. I love seeing it. I've been tuning into a lot more Hornets games. With with that. Speaking of Hornets games, I love their play-by-play announcer. Um,
uh,
whatever he's taking to get, jacked and hyped every game to be announcing like this, I want in life. But I
uh,
think going forward, the Hornets have a good, hopefully solid looking core and young talent with Lamelo, Rozier, Devontae Graham, Miles Bridges, PJ Washington going forward.
yeah. There's the age-old question: if you put a bunch of monkeys in a room with typewriters, will they be able to create a movie?
Oh my
And
god.
I feel like the answer to that question is yes, because
Okay.
you know, the comparative question is: if you leave Michael Jordan in an administrative position long enough, will he make a successful draft pick? And
And
now we know that the answer to that is yes. So I feel like the
clearly, yeah.
monkeys could also write a movie.
But and so so to your point though on Michael Jordan too, he was much maligned when when he hired Mitch Kupchak, um, the GM that never tampers, even though tampering is the name of the game.
Yeah,
However, in that same thread I mentioned about Thibodeau, it was about Mitch Kupchak also getting like the biggest flip flop every play everywhere he goes. Because again, like, this was referenced. It was referring back to, Jonathan Sharks's point on the NBA University
I was
show
here
on
the
the
whole
Ringer.
time.
Oh my God, it's Dan.
oh, we got
Uh,
Dan. How you
but
doing,
with
bro?
we're talking about the Hornets
I
right
am
now.
so sorry.
It's
I
okay,
legit
buddy.
just.
Surprise entrance.
Hey, it's no
Um,
problem.
How
but
long
with
ago did we start?
about it like 45 minutes ago.
Oh,
Yeah, this is the you came in on the closing stretch. But
Yeah,
hey, we got here.
we're
That's
like
all that matters.
we're nearing like we're nearing the end.
My
Um,
bad.
that's okay,
No
but
problem. No
we're
problem.
talking about Lamelo in the sense because and Mitch Kupchak right now because with Mitch Kupchak, he's kind of like gotten the sense of um where he's drafted well for the Hornets. He got Lamella Ball, he got Miles Bridges, he got PJ Washington, right? He somehow traded, he got Gordon Hayward on that max contract. Um,
Yeah, got rid of
but
Nicholas Batum.
We're talking
got
about
rid
how
of Nicholas
Lamelo is
Batum.
just like runaway rookie of the year, not
Yes,
even close, right?
yes, yeah, we're getting to
Yeah,
that point. Yes,
no question.
Halliburton
yes,
is the next closest, and then I'd say third is quickly.
yes. We're getting close to that point. But with Mitch Kupchak though, again, like you said with we were talking about earlier with the Knicks, is this sustainable? Who knows? Because again, with same thing with Tibbs, everywhere he went, it's sorrows on later with Mitch Kupchak. Started out great with the Lakers, slowly as time goes on, sours out. But now moving on to again, it's something that look and see. But looking forward to looking at Lamelo. Yes, 100% rookie of the year. There's no argument. Like just hand him the award now. Like
Yeah,
barring
I
any
mean,
unforeseen circumstances, knock on wood. Like he
Lamelo
deserves.
could
He's
have.
winning this.
I'm sorry, he could have a season-ending injury and would probably
Knock
still
on wood,
win
for
it.
the love of God, knock on wood, knock on wood, knock on wood. No, 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 no. Like he's too fun for the league.
oh
I
man,
I,
that
had
would
to,
be
I
sad.
realized my desk is made of fiberglass, so I had to lean over and knock on my dresser.
No,
But
we
like, if he
no.
had a season-ending injury, he would
I think,
probably still win it because he's been that much better than every other rookie in the league.
yeah, he might. I think he would definitely still be in the conversation. Whereas most
And
others, if they got hurt at this point in the season, it would be like, all right, he didn't play enough.
and well, to your point though, like we do have to remember, Embiid got injured during his rookie of the year campaign, which he then got robbed from by Malcolm Brogdon.
To be
So
fair, Malcolm Brogdon, was he? How did he win Rookie of the Year and then Most Improved Player? Isn't Rookie of the Year supposed to be you're already pretty good? I
yeah,
don't
but then I guess he
understand.
must have taken like another leap or something. I don't know. With I don't know.
It's like
Yeah,
how people said Siakam was going to win the Most Improved Award player twice,
Twice, no.
which is
Um,
that's not how that works.
but yeah, like again with Lamella Ball, like shot selection has been like phenomenal. Shooting's been great. Like I said earlier, like I didn't expect it. I thought it was like an ongoing struggle for him. Um,
It just wasn't
now,
ever an issue, which shocked me.
yeah, I mean it was an issue. It was an issue, especially in Australia.
I
Not
Um,
here,
mean,
not in the NBA.
yeah, I don't know what the
yeah,
rules in Australia are, but I'm pretty sure. All
but
in all,
I
Like
get it. Like
Lavar was right. Lamelo played
yeah,
against grown men in Australia.
that's
we
true.
should.
Probably,
He
Okay,
evolved.
I'm pulling up the shooting stats. This year, he's averaging 16 points, 6
Hmm.
rebounds, 6
Okay,
assists,
the triple six
44%
is
from the
crazy.
field,
44.
37% from for 3,
Okay.
80% from the line, 52% efficiency. So all in all, pretty good.
Wow. Good for him. Like, and you know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb. He's better than Lonzo already. I'm just
You're
gonna go
right.
out on a limb.
uh,
It's
I'm just
not
gonna go on a
yeah,
it's
limb.
not that's not a
I don't think
question.
that's.
He already
That's
is.
not even a.
Uh,
Yeah, it's just.
yeah, I think his offensive value is probably better than offensive value.
And you know what? And to that
Lonzo
point
is
though,
having a career year, ironically, right now. Is he's actually
what's
having a
the
really good
before
season.
before I say my Lamelo Lamelo like point? What's Lonzo's stat line?
14,
Uh,
4, and 5 on 54% efficiency.
What is he shooting from three?
38, 39.
39.
Oh God.
Yeah, so
He's,
Um.
he's actually
Um.
pretty good this year.
Oh God. And a
yeah, and
disclaimer.
he's playing good. He's playing good defense too. Like he's
So
always been
disclaimer
a stalwart.
to all to all our viewers. Earlier before the season started, we made a bet that if Lonzo Ball were to score 15 points a game and do it efficiently, we would have to buy his jersey. Right.
Fortunately, halfway through the season,
So close.
14.4.
Yeah, so we're
He's
kind
almost
of
there.
We're not
kind of
rounding up. We're not rounding up. It
we're not
has to
rounding
be
up, but
15.
it has to be at least 15. Yeah, we're not rounding up
Oh,
like Dan said,
you're
but
not rounding up from 14.5.
we are not rounding
Oh,
up.
come
It
on.
has to be straight up 15.
For me to buy a
Um,
Lonzo
Oh,
jersey, we're not rounding up.
wait,
yeah,
hold on, real quick.
yeah. What's
I
up?
don't. I'm just finding out about this. Is it everybody or like we?
No. It was on the show. Whoever's on that one episode. It was me,
Oh,
Dan,
okay, all right.
Deuce.
I
I
did not
think
agree to this.
it was me, Dan, Deuce, uh,
The Facebook
Gio,
fan was
and I
also
think
there.
it was Dom too that agreed to it. Um,
All
oh,
right.
was it? No, I don't think it was Jonah, not Dom. It was, I got
Well,
the show is somewhere on YouTube. We
if
can find
he,
it.
yeah, we'll look through the archives. If he
But
does it and one of you don't want it, you can send it my way because I've always kind of been a Lonzo Ball believer.
okay. But as a man of my word, I will live up to the bet. So yeah, okay, that's something. But so getting
Yeah.
sidetracked there. Going back to Lamelo, a lot of the people, were also criticizing his defense. I will again will come out and come clean and say, yeah, I was one of those critics. I thought it was one of those things that he would need to develop. Is it still a work in progress? Yeah, for sure. But with Lamelo though, it's not so much he's a good on ball defender. It's more so that he knows that where the passing lanes are and he's very active in them, and he's got very good court awareness on defense to know where everyone's
Yeah.
at, which helps out with his steals and getting interrupting the passing lanes. So I'll give him that defensively. So again, Lamelo and the Hornets have been a very great surprise and something to look forward to.
Yeah, Lamella
Um,
Ball is also like pretty tall, so he has that going
yeah,
for him as well.
I
it
admit I
benefits.
called him Lonzo Tall when he came into the league,
Oh
and
my
he's
God.
he's blown away my expectations. Although I just
Yeah.
realized he and Lonzo are the same height, so that doesn't even work.
Oh man. Oh gosh.
I
But
I will say this. I saw the clip where the Hornets ball it went to Jordan as he was sitting in the stands, and you could like see it in his eyes. It was like just
mm,
briefly
He's
he
like,
was
he thought
back
about
in
to suit up. He was about to
he was
suit
like
up.
back in 90 I was gonna say 94. I think he was retired in 94. I guess back in
Like
96 he's
96.
like just should I come out of retirement
yeah,
He's ready.
again?
Oh man, it would have been
yeah.
a
I read
if
him.
if he shot it, I would have lost my mind.
If it was a
I would have
timeout,
loved
he
it.
What if
probably
I
he?
would have loved it. No, even
I
if
would
it
have
was
loved it
that, I
as
would have loved if he just straight up shot it and just screwed over the
uh
refs.
if he
uh,
shot.
Um,
Imagine if he shot it in an air ball.
I'd laugh so hard. I can't wait for the. I could not. I would wait for the for NBA Twitter and the memes
uh,
to come out
There's an
saying
alternate
that
reality where that happened.
like
to be
MJ the
fair,
fake goat, LeBron's the real goat, MJ's a fraud. The alternate reality of the
Yeah,
what could have
actually it was a
transpired.
Mickey Mouse miss because it happened
yeah,
to me.
Jorbum. Oh right, yeah.
Door bum.
Mickey Mouse.
Dude,
Oh man, I.
I I
Oh man.
and I gotta say, Lamelo to Jordan, that connection, that two
Oh
man game.
man.
Have we
You.
Oh,
talked about the Myers Leonard situation?
We
Or
did. We did.
yeah, we
We did.
we
feel like I
discussed it
probably should
at the
have been
top of the
here for
show.
that one.
Yeah.
Hey,
I
if you want to
apologize.
say some
If you
words,
want to say something though,
go
you
ahead.
feel
I
right
feel like
ahead.
you're closer to the issue
I
Yeah.
than the
I
rest
mean
of us.
I
So.
am, but I guess all I really have to say is that word doesn't have a colloquial use. There's no use case outside of I want to insult some Jewish people. Yippee ki there's no contextual use outside of that.
Uh-huh.
It's not like there's, Jews calling each other the K word on the street. That's not a thing.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Occasionally we'll call each other Heeb, but uh, that's about as far as we'll go.
That's the
Um,
first I've heard of that.
That's the first time I've ever heard of that.
that's
Wow. Okay.
it's very rare. It's very rare.
Okay. Wow.
It's very very rare.
All right.
Okay.
But look, there's
Sure.
Just,
I if there's
just for
some
hold on, real quick. I have to ask this just for my own thing. If I'm friends with a Jewish person and I call him that, would that be considered offensive?
it would be considered extremely offensive.
Okay. All right. I just needed
Like
to know that.
very
Okay.
Oh my god.
immensely offensive.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
Okay.
And
Hey,
honestly,
that's how you have to ask questions to find out.
I
That's true.
Otherwise-
appreciate you
Well,
asking rather
I
than doing it.
genuinely I was genuinely gonna ask. I was genuinely wondering, like, is Usman gonna ask for like the H pass?
It could. Here's the thing. For all I know, this could just be like in my personal friend circle, but I have been called a heeb as a term of endearment.
Okay.
I've never been called the K word though, and that is
Okay.
obviously
I
a step worse.
full disclaimer too. I genuinely
Don't
do
do
not
that.
want
Don't do that.
full disclaimer. I also want to get this out of here that if our viewers have not caught on yet, somehow, some way,
I have a
Dan is
yarmulke in the
Jewish.
corner if you
Yeah,
want me to
Dan
put
is
it on.
Jewish. Okay, to our viewers, like I just don't want like anyone to see this and be like, oh my gosh, are these people anti-Semitic? No, Dan Dan is Jewish, and
I
he's very
wanted
much
to comment on it
he's very much
because
commenting on the
I
Myers Leonard
wanted to
situation.
comment on the situation because
Yeah.
I just look, I like what Max Kellerman said on the subject, which is, look, if you want to like explain yourself, go ahead, but like as it stands, I think he is getting what he deserves, and that's all I can really say on the subject. He has to pay the idiot tax now, and we'll see if he has to pay the racist tax too. If he's
Eventually,
an idiot,
probably.
you know, if he's just an idiot, then you know maybe he can be, you know, maybe there's some actual learning that will go on, or maybe, but if he does have this like deep seated problem
Yeah,
that
Yeah.
with Jewish people,
definitely.
I don't support that. And look, yeah, that is I think a good enough reason to fire someone.
And
Yeah, I mean,
And-
we'll find out if he's gonna which tax
Yeah.
he'll
And, like
pay
he's
because
trash, so if he does get
Right.
fired, it's not
Exactly.
like it's not like
Exactly.
it's not
Exactly.
like Duncan Robinson or Jimmy Butler is getting fired.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler, you know,
Yeah, I was
no,
saying this.
I don't want
Yeah.
to use a
No, I said
racist
this.
example even.
I said this exact same thing. Is that like the sad reality is that if a player of more talent had said it, he would have been forgiven.
Yeah.
Like 100%, he would have been forgiven.
I mean, I'm gonna. I don't know if it's so much more talent, but like a player with more following would have people jumping to their defense, even
Okay.
if
Right, that
what
too.
they said
Right,
was
right,
unforgivable. I
right.
don't know if the NBA's reaction would have been any different, but there would be people
Right.
jumping to their defense.
That's right.
And I'm not gonna say
Alright.
we're lucky because Myers Leonard is, you know,
Yeah.
injured, and
Definitely. Yeah.
even when he was uninjured, scored like 8 points a game. But
Mhm.
all I'm
And-
saying, Leonard, is your job is not that secure. Maybe you should watch what you say on Twitch.
Yeah, I was saying celebrities shouldn't even be streaming because
It's like,
you know.
Yeah. Last
also,
point
he's
to
like
it.
a grown ass man. Like he's 30. It's not like he's like 21.
Yeah. So,
Right.
last point on it before we move on, because we got one more thing to talk about. So I said this earlier, and I feel like Dan, you would agree with this. Like, Myers Leonard took a 2-second pause, thought about what word he's gonna say, and then said it. Like the memes that like we have seen on Twitter like speak a little bit of truth, because
It's
Um,
like the trolley problem where on one side it was the N word, and on one side it
Yeah.
was the K word, and he just like
definitely
just
yeah
pushed it over at the last second.
like so I think it was I think it was Dragonfly Jones on Twitter. I forgot what his ad is, but he said, Miles Leonard used like some deep like album racial
Like-
slur, like
Like a
it
deep
wasn't
cut.
like a
That's a
single
deep cut reference.
yeah, like it's not even a single hit, like it's literally deep cut. I said it earlier, like Miles Leonard went into the deep bag
There's
of
no
slurs.
This is a word from the 30s that has not been widely
No
used
way.
since
Are
like
you
at least the
serious?
50s.
What?
There's no.
Oh wow.
This is a super old slur. Like this isn't
Oh
used
wow.
except.
Oh,
this
so
stuff-
you really
That's why there's no
Oh.
colloquial use for it, because
Uh,
this word it's so, even though it is still super offensive, it's
Oh, wow.
incredibly antiquated.
what?
Yeah, I think
So I was right, Usman. He went deep into the bag, man.
Did he think it was? That's like all Howard Stern does, though. Is he like thinks he's making a point and just does stuff like that? That's
Yeah.
what Howard Stern is.
yeah, that's the only other time I've seen that word. It was a
Uh,
video
gosh.
clip a
But
friend of
again,
mine
he
sent
went
me
he went
once.
deep in the bag.
Yeah.
Anyway, going back to the basketball thing. Um,
Sorry,
last thing I do want to talk about
sorry.
was championship contending. Um, so Usman had very much
All right,
seemingly disagreed with this point here, and it was bless you to the same person again.
sorry.
Usman very much disagreed with this point, and it was I said the Nets and the Sixers are going to represent the East, um, and I feel like that's a legitimately solid take. And I said this earlier, but again, the Lakers and the Clippers are the class of the West. And I think we'll get the Lakers Nets, finals that Adam Silver will rig for to get the ratings in to recover from the COVID losses in
Yeah.
financial. But
Look,
again,
I didn't disagree. I didn't expressly disagree.
I feel like you kind of had like a little reservations to this.
I would bet Sixers or Nets against like the rest of the East, but I don't think it's set in stone. I think there are teams that could
Like
come
who though?
back.
Like
I
the
mean, look,
Bucks?
because the issue is half the East we don't actually know how good they are because there's been so many ridiculous extenuating circumstances that have completely crippled so many teams in the East.
Yeah,
The Celtics, the Heat, the Pacers, the Raptors,
You
all of
know,
these teams have been completely like
hate to break it to
I.
you, breaking news here.
Hmm?
So
what up?
so for all you again for all you viewers and listeners that are seeing this, we are recording at 3:12, March 12th at on Friday, 6:39 Pacific. But right now games are obviously happening. The Sixers are playing the Wizards right now. The Philadelphia Sixers, who Embiid plays for, right, is playing right now against the
Uh-oh.
Wizards. Um, it's been reported during this game, Joel Embiid's
Oh no.
left knee hyperextended and his whole body landed on
Ah,
the leg. So he um he did uh is able he did get up on under his own power. According to Dimpon Temps of ESPN, he said it looks like he was saying he's all right. He's walking off to the court to the locker room with a fairly heavy limp. So that is something to take note of.
that's
Um,
rough.
yeah, sorry to cut you off, but breaking news on that end. Um,
Okay, so maybe I
Embiid is
don't take the
injured.
Sixers and the Nets against the field. Uh, See, that would
Yeah,
pose
I
the
think.
question though: is Embiid
Um,
is when he's healthy and when he's doing what he's good at? Apparently, he's the best player in the NBA or close to it. Um, and
ooh, sorry,
now
I'm rewatching the clip. It
it's
doesn't
like,
look good.
come on.
Ugh,
I thought you were like, is
that's
he
rough.
really the best player? It's like now is not the
No,
time to
Yeah,
he
Mr.
is the best. He is the best. Sorry, like again, I was
He's,
just looking at the clip.
for
He
a
is the
I
best.
second,
best
He's
I
the
or
best
was.
close
player.
to it.
He's
But
the MVP, leading MVP.
before you announced, before you told us, I was smiling because I thought you were about to say that the Wizards are blowing the Sixers out. That
Oh,
just
They're being
completely
blown
took
out
me.
by the Sixers.
they're
Yeah,
being
they're
blown
being
up by
blown
the
out. Yeah, I
right.
looked at the score myself, but no, that's terrible. Yeah,
Matisse
but
is
Yeah.
gonna have to explode for like
Ooh,
13 points.
I'm looking at the clip right now.
I
So
don't.
it was on a dunk, and then he just landed all in the left leg and it
uh,
hyperextended.
that's rough.
But again, he walked off his own power. But
Yeah.
sorry, continue your point on that, Dan.
I think we don't know how good half the East is yet because we've had all these
Sure,
ridiculous things going on.
I can see
Um,
Um.
it.
like the Raptors are ninth in net rating and have a net negative record. That's just one example that I know
Yeah.
of because apparently I have. Tony Snell has hit a buzzer beater against us. I'm not happy about that. Like we're missing our three
Oh,
best
it's hard
defenders,
to
so I'm
it's
not
Um,
hard to
like
come back from that.
if our producer right now can find the clip, that'd be great to pull up. But continue.
not of Joel Embiid of Tony Snell.
Of Tony Snell, yes.
I don't want to
But
see
okay,
that
but to your
anymore.
point though, right? To your point, right now, again, like the East 100% has dealt with a lot of things, right? But again,
I
at
would
the
still
same
say
time,
healthy, still best teams, Sixers,
yeah,
Nets. I just don't think the gulf is as big as Sixers and Nets fans think.
no,
Yeah, I
it's
agree
not
with
as
that.
big. But however,
I would say it's probably a
I
60.
can lump. I can lump in Milwaukee with this three
I
as
wouldn't.
well.
I really wouldn't.
I could,
I don't know.
but I can't
I don't
see
know
it.
about that.
But
Look,
Frauds.
here's what I'm gonna. Yeah. Playoff Bud.
Giannis
Oh, yeah.
can't score on Fred Van Vliet. How is he going to score on Joel Embiid?
fair. But
Yeah.
here's my thing. The reason why I said this though was again,
It's true.
other than Miami
Like an
surging back.
elephant and a mouse. It's like, it's Freddie.
Oh my god! But
Yeah. I saw Kendrick Nunn stop one of his drives in the playoffs last season.
oh god.
'Cause he can't hold on because when he's driving, he doesn't expect people to try and go for the ball. It's like
yeah. But here's my thing though. The reason why I mentioned the Nets and the Sixers again, like maybe Miami continues their surge, right? They're at the fifth seed now. They're surging again, right?
Yeah.
But the reason why I pick, and this again, this is all first half reactions. Like, who knows what happens in the second half? We just noticed now, Joel Embiid go down, right? Anything can change in any given moment,
that's
Yeah.
right?
depressing.
So
Yeah, not like this.
yeah, then but again, so my point now is,
I wanted to beat them off an OG Ananobi last second buzzer beater in the Eastern
In the
Conference
corner.
oh
semifinals.
gosh. But again, like my point being though, after the first half of what we've seen, the Nets and Sixers have been running away, going on ridiculous runs to kind of like pull away from the pack in a sense.
It
If
is like
not
a
start to pull
60,
away.
I would say 60% chance one of those two teams comes out of the East.
Probably
I'm not
so.
willing
Yeah,
to go higher
probably.
than that, and I think honestly, I'm not willing to go lower than that either because I think the Sixers and Nets really are better than every other team in the East. I also think
Mm.
there's a very good chance a team could upset them. There are a lot of teams
Yeah.
that have good matchups with the Sixers and Nets,
Yeah.
but I don't know if those teams are going to
It's
be able to make it
yeah.
Look.
even past the second round.
It's just
And
again though, again like
Look, the
after the first half, the Nets and Sixers have been streaking. Like
I know.
the past 10, the Sixers have won 7 out of 10. They've won 3 straight. On the other hand, the Nets have won 11 out of their last 12.
It's
So
going to be
again,
look
just
the,
like last year, where the Raptors are unable to make it past the second round, and then every team they would have faced is a team they match up well against. I'm going to complain about that for
oh
the
god,
rest of my life.
like the main thing that I would say perhaps the top contending teams have going against them.
Mm.
I think it's if there is any downfall they have, it's going to be coaching in the playoffs because
okay,
Doc in the playoffs before many times with talented teams and rosters.
I think this
And,
time is different. I don't. I've never
It might
seen.
be it might be
it might
different.
be.
It might be different, but it might also not be.
Well, the question is now: is Joel Embiid going to be healthy? Which is, I hate that we have to ask that question because he seemed fine for most
Yeah,
of the season, and
that's it.
now it's profoundly depressing because he was having by far the best season of his career, and I would argue the only other players I can think of who have been better this year in the regular season are Harden and Jokic, and I would
Yeah.
still pick Embiid over the two of them.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
Embiid
and
is
then
Embiid is literally the MVP. Like yeah, he's my pick for MVP right now.
yeah, I was hoping as somebody who misses the big man in the NBA, I was really hoping that Embiid, because it's been a long time since a center has won the MVP. I think it was Shaq in 2000, the last time that happened.
Yes, it was.
And look, it would really make Shaq mad, which would be really fun.
Yeah.
God.
Although I think Shaq likes Embiid. Like I think he likes him more than the rest. Also about Shaq, that's a completely different story. He's going down the Skip Bayless route of saying clickbait stuff to get views.
I'm not surprised.
Oh, well.
Can
But
we talk about the West as well, though?
Yeah, we were gonna
hold on, real quick on the Nets.
Yeah.
Steve Nash is a brand new coach. Their
Fair.
their
That's
their
true.
entire coaching staff is made of guys that have failed in the playoffs constantly.
I
That's
think
true.
you I think
That's
you
true.
can if you're gonna beat the Nets, you have to outcoach them. The
Yeah.
question is who in the East is gonna be able to outcoach them?
Sure, probably.
I think it's Nurse, Stevens, and Spo have the best
No,
chance.
not Stevens.
Not Stevens.
But
We're out
here's
on
No, not
Stevens.
Stevens.
Okay, look,
Let's
even
look at this.
even if we assume Nurse Stevens and Spo, it's
No,
going to
not
be
Stevens.
very hard for
It's
Nurse
just Nurse
Stevens.
and
Oh,
Spo.
of course.
Okay,
Of course.
even Nurse, it's going to be very hard for Nurse and Spo to even get in a position where they're able to play the Nets.
fair.
I don't know if you noticed, the Raptors and Heat have had some struggles this season. The Heat seem to be getting past them. The Raptors were getting past them, and then
Yeah.
half the team got COVID or is in
Well, I
protocol
mean,
or whatever.
one of those two, I'm pretty sure is going to face the Nets. I'm
It might be
almost certain
Miami.
that's the
It might be
case.
Miami.
Yeah,
Might
we'll
be
see.
Miami, might be Boston. But to your counterpoint before we move
I
on
don't want to
west,
have to face a rested
it's
Nets in the first round. That's going to be
it's
awful.
the issue here with the reason why I say I don't, I'd say Brad Stevens is a no, is again, the Nets have played the Nets and Celtics have played each other twice now. The Nets have won both times, right?
Uh,
Um, first time, obviously, it's a new season, everyone's still figuring it out. This time, everyone's in the groove, right? Um, what you call it? How the Nets are injured right now. We don't have Kevin Durant, um, and whatnot, and we're working,
That
players
was
like
expected though. That was expected.
Jeff. Well, and also, Jeff Greenwood, is now working himself way back into injury and whatnot. Um, we're seemingly not healthy, but we're also
Look,
starting to
I'm
get
not
healthy
allowed to make
again.
excuses for losing to Tony Snell. You're not allowed to make excuses for already
I'm
being
just
the second
saying.
seed.
I'm just saying. That's
Okay?
your fault. You guys didn't cover Tony Snell. But look, I'm just saying,
We
Brad
had
Stevens is
Fruity, we
not.
would have been able to send a defender to him.
Brad Stevens can't figure out a way to beat the Nets, and that's it's
yeah,
pretty clear why. Because Kemba Walker averages more smiles than points, and the bench for the Celtics, the bench of the
God
Celtics,
damn.
To be
the bench of the
fair,
the bench of
God
the
he's been
Celtics
good
damn.
is
lately.
not good. Kemba
Yeah,
has
no.
been good, but he's also
Okay,
been
if
averaging
the
more
bench of the
smiles than
Celtics
points.
is bad, can you tell them when they play the Raptors? Because Peyton Pritchard, I swear, has averaged like 20 points against us this
Oh
year.
gosh, I don't
No.
know, but yeah, I don't know. Like again,
Yeah.
genuinely, the only team that I can genuinely see is giving fits, other than the Sixers, would probably be like maybe the Bucks and probably Miami, because Miami's zone defense is insanely like what the hell. But
I just
play
don't
come
think the
Yeah,
playoff
Raptors.
it
time,
Maybe the
would be a
Raptors last
massive
year, but I
uphill
just don't
battle.
think we have the personnel for it this year.
no,
Yeah,
not
it would
this year.
be it
This
would
We
be
we
a
we
it
gotta
won't
fully
we
happen.
uphill
gotta
battle.
win. We got like an asterisk, but there's also an asterisk next to the asterisk because that was
Oh
the
god,
dumbest. Like, I still am mad about that. The way they handled that Nets Raptors game. It's
yes,
like is he playing or not? It's so on and
mm,
so forth. It's like
but
the NBA made themselves look like idiots, but
come
Oh,
come
with Kevin
playoff time
Durant?
though,
Was that
yeah,
against the Raptors?
yeah, that was Raptors against Raptors, and
come
the Nets
playoff
even
time, Raptors are
the
gonna
Nets
not.
almost won that too.
Yeah, come playoff time, the Raptors are gonna hold the Nets to 90 and then lose by 12. Because
I'm just saying, look, come playoff
they're
time
gonna
too.
not score for the last 6 minutes.
Come playoff time too, and this is going to factor into what I'm going to say next about the Western Conference. Star players and ISO scoring are going to,
Huge.
determine if you win or not. The Nets have three of those kind of players.
The
There
Raptors
you
have
go.
0.75.
There you go. And why I mentioned ISO scoring as well, while we talk about contenders, this applies to, the Western Conference and the Lakers and the Clippers. LeBron and AD can score in isolation.
I
So can Paul? Well, not me. Well, I don't know. Paul George is a mixed bag, but Kawhi can. You know which team can't, except for one player, the Utah Jazz.
and
So
here's the thing. The thing that actually concerns me is not. I think you can actually win a playoff game with that kind of ball movement style. The thing that concerns me is that Donovan Mitchell has a tendency to do hero ball and
yeah,
mess up royally
that's what
while
I'm
he's
saying.
doing it.
That's what I'm
And
Oh
saying. Like
no.
he's like
what?
the anti-Dame essentially.
Yeah,
He
that's what I'm saying. Like the Clippers and Lakers will triumph over the Jazz in the playoffs because of that.
I could
Yeah,
definitely
the
see the
other
Blazers upsetting someone. Like, I don't know who, but I could see them upsetting someone.
yeah,
Blazers.
the other issue with the Jazz is that their whole thing is based off their defense and their defensive anchor and Rudy Gobert.
Just
But what's Rudy gonna do
Okay.
against like Jokic or against
the two people he
Davis?
needs to
What's he
defend the
gonna do?
most, the two people he needs to well, three people, I guess, if they make the finals, Jokic, Embiid, and Davis. Those are like the only three people in the NBA that Rudy can't defend.
Yeah, they'll
Close.
run
Yeah,
him off the court.
that's fine. Yeah, see that again. I mean, we've known, like again, like you guys said, Rudy Gobert has been exposed multiple times in the playoffs. Everyone will remember the fact that Steph Curry put him in a spin cycle, that one playoff run. So, on top of not being able to guard, guards unless they drive into the paint, and the inability to guard actual big men. What is Gobert useful for in the playoffs? You
I
know?
mean, he's a good defender, but like again,
Yeah, but he's only good when you drive into the paint, though.
I
You
am
know?
Yeah.
high on the Suns personally because I
Hmm.
think they
Hot
actually
take.
got off to a pretty rough start. I think they're actually finding their rhythm now, is why they're now right
Yeah,
now the hottest team in the league, which is very fitting given their name.
yeah,
Yeah, about time.
yeah.
They
But
are. This is like
I just can't see.
it's like a patience rewarded thing. It's like the
I
Knicks, but maybe to a much greater extent.
I
The
just
Knicks
can't.
the Knicks went from bad to mediocre and like are now having a fun season, but the Suns
Yeah,
went from like slightly below average to I would say right now
a playoff team.
I would actually go further. I'd say contender.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
just can't see anyone right now unless they prove it in the playoffs. Especially looking at you, Phoenix and Utah. Like I can't see anyone, topping the Lakers and the Clippers because
Okay.
again, the Clippers can be included in the prove it scenario because they did blow that 3-1 lead, but they look different in a sense now that they kind of got their crap together. The Lakers are the Lakers, especially when it's LeBron and AD. We know what they can do.
I think the one thing
Um.
we got to remember though, anything can happen. That
Yes,
that
100%.
that
Yes,
Nugget series was the anything can happen series.
fair, fair.
Anything is
All right.
possible. It's
Yeah,
KG, I think, said that. Or was it Paul
yeah.
Pierce? Who did he?
KG said that after the
All
series.
right.
What's your
I'll
thing, Usman?
I'll drop my final thoughts on the West and their
Okay.
contenders. Um. I'm not that high on the Nuggets. Uh, there's no particular reason. I don't think they're. I don't know. I don't
I
High
trust
on
can
the
Jokic,
Nuggets.
and I think Murray's
I'm high.
pretty
Yeah,
good, but I don't.
Yeah.
Beyond Jokic and Murray, who do they have?
Yeah. And
yeah.
then
And
let's
I
talk
count
about.
Murray in that because he's actually much better than now because he was injured at the start of the year and kind of working his
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
back. But
All right. Now it's time to get a little bit memey. The Clippers are a cursed franchise. They're not getting past the second round. The
I
the
just have one
The-
request? I want it to be another Dame buzzer beater. I want it to be
oh
another Dame
man,
buzzer beater.
I would lose my
um.
mind if that would happen. So
All
No,
okay,
right.
I
what I
will.
wanted to do, like, I wanted to be as cocky as I wanted to just the whole time.
For all
Yeah.
memes and purposes, I would laugh if it was a Dame second round exit that causes the Clippers to just ruin, be a ruined franchise.
Yeah.
However, I genuinely can't see this happening or like seeing the Clippers
It's not. I'll tell you this much.
missing the second round unless they play the Lakers and or get damed.
It's not. It's not any more likely than it was last year.
Yeah.
All right. And then the next.
It happened last.
All right. Now for the Suns, I said this earlier in the show before you came on, Dan. The only way they're winning is if Chris Paul gets like all the bad luck he's had over the years, like he gets rewarded for it for all the
Yeah.
suffering.
I
Um.
actually,
Mm.
I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna make like a crazy, not too crazy, but kind of crazy. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say Suns make conference finals.
That is a hot take.
Ooh,
All
that's
right,
a hot
and
take.
then
I
and then
don't think it's that
finally,
hot. I think it's pretty hot though.
No, it's scorching hot.
Pretty
I don't think
hot.
that's possible. I think there's a second round exit.
let's talk about the Lakers. I mean, they went to 6 against Jimmy and the third stringers. All right, so let's dial it back.
I just think like again, it's LeBron. It's LeBron. Okay, you can't ever doubt LeBron making it to the finals.
I just
He's gonna figure it out.
look. All I'm gonna say for Jazz fans is being the one seed in the same conference as LeBron is not all it's cracked up to be.
I know, like if you
He's
guys
gonna
look at
gonna
this,
spin the ball in your
I'm,
face. He's gonna pretend to drink a beer
Yeah,
on the sideline. He's
I'm
gonna be
gonna
hitting
tell
the fadeaway game winners.
I'm
he's
telling
gonna,
you this right
he's gonna
now.
tell you your
Like
plays.
for all you Utah Jazz fans that are saying like, oh, LeBron, like, we beat the Lakers in the regular season. And, we're the number one seed, and this is our year. Like, let's get this real now. And I've seen your subreddit. You guys are like in some sort of delusion right now.
We do this
Like,
every year with LeBron.
yes,
Every single year. We're like, oh
Yeah,
no,
like
he can't still be the great. Yeah,
he,
yeah, he is.
LeBron
Every
coasts in
time.
the regular season, and you beat the Jazz beat a Lakers team that was like absolutely demolished by injuries, like no AD and like no other role players.
And
Like let's
and I
be
feel they
honest
need to
here.
say this. LeBron is coasting to an MVP
Yes,
candidate season. He's not going to win,
literally.
but he's
Yeah.
averaging like
He's
25,
25,
7,
7
7 or
and 7.
something.
Yeah. And he's literally coasting. Like for like again, the East has seen this every year, and I'm glad I don't have to deal with it again, right?
Until the finals.
Until the finals. But playoff LeBron is something different. And when it comes, and I'm telling you, I really do want to see a Western Conference Finals where it's like a Jazz Lakers Western Conference Finals, because you know the Jazz can do all this. We're all friends, team basketball. No, because that's gonna be go out the drain when LeBron knows all your plays, blows it up, and forces you to think on the fly. And you can't think on the fly. Why? Because LeBron knows everything you're gonna do, regardless.
There was
And
another
why?
there was another really great chemistry, really solid defense team. They actually were also the 1 seed in the same conference as LeBron. It's like, this is the 2018 Raptors. I'm sorry,
And
you
again,
are the 2018
Or
Raptors.
the 20, or
yep,
even worse, the 2015 Hawks.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. No,
Ugh.
I
yeah.
wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go
I'm
that
just
far.
saying. Look,
That's cruel and unusual, man.
I'm
Come
just
on.
saying. Look, to all the Jazz fans, look, it's great that you guys have a great team and you currently are running the West. Once come playoff time, LeBron's gonna probably 4-1 you,
Hey,
and
prove us
it'll be
wrong.
that.
On the bright
Donovan
side,
Mitchell.
this means they're gonna
Yeah,
trade.
like prove it. Like the
This means that next year they're gonna trade Donovan Mitchell for Dame Lillard and win it
oh
all.
On
gosh,
Donovan
oh
Mitchell's
no
gotta
no
channel like 2006 Dwayne Wade if he wants a chance against LeBron and the Lakers.
Well,
gosh.
he's gonna try and fail to do that. Is my worry, because that's
Yeah, I
the
mean,
kind of, no offense to Jazz fans, he does that sometimes. Don't get me wrong, he's also insanely amazing sometimes, but he also does
no, he
that
played
sometimes.
really good. He played really good against the Nuggets, and they just kind of really screwed up the last play in
Yeah.
Game 7. That was heartbreaking.
Anyway,
But,
again, I
yeah,
love talking basketball with you guys, but we do gotta cut it, short a little bit. But before I go, before we wrap this up, updates on Joel Embiid. He's going an MRI on his left knee tomorrow. I believe, according to Woj, but he's gonna go undergo an MRI, um, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. The Sixers are calling it a hyperextended left knee. The tweet has been deleted, so we're just waiting. But right now, prayers up for Joel Embiid. But with that, again, guys, there's merch that are on sale. Nephew hours again. Thank you all for all the support that you guys have given us, to our viewers and all our listeners. Thank you for all the support you've given us. To Dan and Usman, it's been always great talking basketball with you guys. Love it. Um,
Go Knicks!
oh
thank you for
God,
having
get out of here. But love talking basketball with you guys. It's always fun. You guys have a great week and you guys have a great night. I'll see you guys soon.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody. And Dan, thanks for coming in late. Still love having you on.
Look, we don't have a set time. You guys need to.
I said 5 Eastern time or 8 Eastern time this morning. Things happened, and we still started technically on time.
I'm sorry. Bye.
It's okay.
That's
It's
all right. It's
okay.
fine.
It's
Don't
all
worry
right.
about
But
it.
everyone else, you guys have a great night.
Didn't even get to make my Yehudanis Haslamberg joke yet.
Yeah, I
Oh
laughed.
my gosh.
I laughed seeing that.